Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm way too loud. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the second season of the GTRM by gt-rennserien. This time we've got 5 races across the globe, and, well, can't really be any more excited to see it. Last year we rounded out the season by driving at Bathurst in what was a pretty cool finale, even though the championship was already set. But this time we got a new offload contenders, a lot of new cars as well, so things might be shaken up a bit. Also, we've got very unconventional tracks, let's say it like this, and I think they are pretty good tracks as well, as you might have seen in the intro already. And yeah, I had a few technical issues. We also unfortunately can't access some of the options in the spectator mode because I just can't click on them. It's a bit weird. But I'm sure we will see... Where was it? I'm sure we will still see a lot of good racing action. Currently 13 drivers on the grid, but big names, let's say. So yeah, obviously we've got Colin Blankenburg currently on pole in the Mercedes. I think Colin Blankenburg and Mercedes are two things that can be really separated in GT3. I mean, he even has it in his profile picture. But yeah, apart from this, obviously very fast guy. Had a ton of good battles at Nordschleife, even battled with Max Pfeiffer at some point. So yeah, obviously you should keep an eye out for him. But also very close behind, Marco shared one, already a very known name. In the Porsche, I think it's the... No, it's not the only Porsche, but... pretty rare to see a Porsche, and also a very beautiful livery in my opinion. So yeah, Marco shared one, obviously a well-established name at this point. Had not only great results in gt-rennserien, but also in KCG and the Ranked Championship. Also some great fights there. So then, shortly after Timo Plum in, gonna be honest, my favorite car of them all, Audi R8 obviously, very great car in the Phoenix livery. And yeah, also very, very fast, bloody fast in Nordschleife. And already just close behind Colin Blankenburg, as well as Marco Charon obviously. But then we've got a very small gap. A pretty small gap. 2/10 on such a lap is not that long. The first Bentley, Henrik Newland, or NL in this case, in the Bentley. Also somebody very fast, somebody who's definitely, or who definitely was a good driver in the midfield. The last season in the Porsche in the Nordschleife League, and also GTRM, upper midfield at least. And so far it looks like he really stepped up and can be a very good podium contender. As well as Mr. Minimi, obviously the founder of gt-rennserien, the man running the whole thing. Also in an Audi R8. He's only a few thousands behind Henrik. But obviously after seeing last season, I think most people know he is very fast. He is definitely going for it if he can. And also pretty consistent driver, so looking forward to this. Also, don't be distracted by the multi-class UI, it's just a bit buggy with the different ADAC cars, even though they are basically all the same. It's a bit weird, just what I'm trying to say. Cannot see how much curb the drivers will take the chicane. It will be very exciting in the race. Obviously one of the many special track elements Zolder has to offer. But we'll take a look at this in a minute. Then we've got Christian Brandt. I think he's pretty new to gt-rennserien. At least I didn't see him so far in the other leagues. But already in the McLaren P6 at the moment. McLaren, a bit of a gamble car, I think. I mean, I drove it quite a few times. Can be very fast on some tracks, and I think it will be on some tracks we have on the calendar. Thinking especially Interlagos. But Zolder, so far so good. 7/10 off, not very close, but also not far away. So if the other do mistakes, which might occur on such a challenging track, then there are definitely some opportunities. Then we've got our second Porsche. Thorsten Leber already established himself, I think. Obviously had those great races in KCG and also then gt-rennserien. He can be very fast. I think he still has to get used to the car a bit because he's, at least from what I've seen, faster than 1.3 seconds behind Colin Blankenburg. So yeah, also a driver to have an eye out for on the track. As well as our next one, who's very well established. I think there's no one who doesn't know him at this point, Dirk Pfeiffer. Not much to say about him anymore because, well, many things already have been said. Very fast, very consistent, basically never does mistake. So yeah, I think that's all you can really say about him at this point. And usually somebody who starts further down the grid and then just collects position after position after position. So a very, very good race driver. So then the others are just in the pit at the moment. They drives out. Gynekologe, also somebody who fought a lot in the midfield last year. This time in the Ferrari, it's the first of the 3 Ferraris we have on the grid. Currently 2.4 seconds off pace, but the Ferrari is a very twitchy car. It's hard to get a good lap in. But yeah, will be very interesting to see him. Then Jörn Decker, also very established in the gt-rennserien community, obviously in the Porsche. I think there's no other car for him to even choose from. Yeah, no, in the Precourt Harold Motorsport Porsche, very beautiful as well. I think he always picks good liveries. So they're currently further down the grid, but I don't think that will be representative of his race pace. And then we've got new faces. Charlie Monk in the Ferrari, the second Ferrari. Yeah, I don't know him, to be honest. I think he just recently joined, but it's good to have him on board. I think there's also much more in saying than a 2.6 second off, so let's see what he can do. Gerd Schröder as well in the third and last Porsche. See what he can do. And Marius Strongbow, also a new contender for the series in the Ferrari 488 by AlphaTauri. We've also got a few drivers who apparently didn't show up for this race. You don't have to show up for every race as far as I'm concerned. But when they join, it can be very interesting. We've got Lorenz Sargmeister, who had in Bathurst in the finale last year this basically collected position after position because others did mistakes. So you can see that even in 1 hour race, consistency is very important. We've got Marcel Löcken, I think very established, don't need to say much about him. And yeah, I think can be very interesting. Now to the championship itself, we've got 5 races across the globe. The first one obviously is Zolder. After Zolder, we will go to Chang International. I think it's a very special track. I never had a race there and I've never seen people race there actually. But I drove it a bit for the trailers and so on obviously, but it can be a very interesting track because you have a lot of hard braking zones, long straights for slipstreaming. Might seem a bit dull if you see it from the outside, but for racing purpose I think it could be quite cool. Also has some very nice corners in the infield. So looking forward to see this track in action, finally. Then the next one is already well established, even though it's pretty new. Interlagos GP, I think after the ranked event it's a no-brainer to have it on. And then another one which is, I think everybody knows the track, but in my opinion it's underrated. I think it's a great track. Sonoma Raceway, the long version, so with the chicane and the infield and stuff. Great track in my opinion. It has so many challenges for driving but also for racing. You can race there because you have tight hairpins, you have longer straights after high speed turns and stuff. So there is a lot of opportunities to go for. especially in a GT3. And at the same time, you might have to fight, depending on which car you drive, you might have to fight the car as well, because you have those kind of jumps, let's say, especially in the first sector, where you have those corners on the crest. Like you turn at the same time you lift. You don't quite jump, but you have so much lift that you really lose a lot of traction. And this will be very interesting, I think. And the last one, also something that's pretty established track, but also not used that often, I think. Motorland Aragon. For me, it's a WTCR track, so it's a bit weird to see big GT3s driving on there, but it's a lot of fun actually. I did a GTE race there once, and this was also surprisingly fun and good to drive. So this track really offers a lot more than you might think. And I think it could result in a great finale, because you have those trigger bits, so you need to drive very well. You have to have, even though you have ABS in those cars obviously, a good feel for the brakes, because if you over brake the car, you will understeer a lot, or depending on brake bias, oversteer a lot, lose a lot of time, or even fly off the track. At least there's a lot of runoff, but still. You also have very aggressive curbing. So this will be very interesting. You still have those opportunities to go side by side and dive on the inside and stuff. So let's see. I think we should also talk about the points for a second, till we can do the track in the warm-up, I guess. So in the GTRM we have a points system for 15 drivers, so currently all drivers who will finish the race will receive points. We also got a multiplier for points in the last race, so Aragon will have 1.5 times the points. So if you collect 25 points by winning, you will get 37.5 points actually. I did a bit of math there. Out of the 5 races, only 4 will count to your points tally. That is to allow drivers to miss a race and not be punished by a championship and stuff, which is pretty neat in sim racing. Pretty good to have it. But now to the all-important thing. We've got, as said, points for the top 15 drivers. P1 will receive 25 points, P2 20, then P3 16. Then 13 for P4 and 11 for P5, and then it goes down one by one. So P6 will have 10 points, P7 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, down until P15, who gets 1 point. And I think the system will result in very close championship standings, which is always good. At the same time, it really benefits for going for higher positions. In the midfield we might not see that hard of a fight, because you wouldn't fight a lot for 1 point, but that 1 point can be very important later. So I don't know, but I think it could be very good. I think it also encourages you to go for more risky moves, but because you don't lose that much if you do a mistake and lose like 2 or 3 positions. So it could be very interesting. We still got 30 seconds in qualifying. And Marcel actually joined while I was talking all the time. So we've got Colin Blankenburg in P1 still, improved his time again. Marco Stern won on a 29.07, so 3.9 off. Mr. Minimi improved to 3rd. Then Timo Plum improved to 4th. Christian Brunn still in P5, Henrik Newland dropped down to 6th. Marcel also just put in a time to put him P13. Then Thorsten Leber kept P7, Gynekologo behind, Dick Pfeiffer P9. So then Jörn Decker, Charlie Monk, Ed Schroeder, I think they didn't change positions as far as I'm concerned. Then obviously Marcel Löcken and Marius Strongbow. So I hope someone will drive out. Yeah, obviously Colin, let's go. So, very cool pit exit in my opinion. You have this like special area for it, say, on the outside of turn 1. So those boards you really don't want to touch actually. But then you come on the track for the inside of turn 2. So it's kind of cool. Oh. Colin just presenting his drift skills there. See if he does a quick lap or not. I think he's just having a bit of fun there. Oh, muscle going a bit wide. So yeah, then we have the back straight. It's not that long, but it really has an impact if you have slipstream there, because you come in at quite a high speed. Then the chicane, Colin takes all the curbing available, where you can really jump if you take too much curb. Then you have this downhill left-hander, very cool to drive, hard braking zone again for another chicane, which has a lot of in-wash, so you have basically banking to the inside all the time, allowing you to take more speed through the turn, because obviously if the turn is banked inwards, you get pushed to the inside just by the elevation. Oh, Colin Wagner doing a solid 360 there. Obviously on purpose. But yeah, then again, uphill, downhill into the next braking zone. This is a very tricky chicane actually. Not because it's hard to drive through. I mean, it's take easily flat and stuff. But if you just sleep a bit and take the inside curbing on the right-hander, so on the second. Let's see if there's somebody approaching there. I don't think there is. Let's just look with Thorsten Leber now when he comes around. So obviously here you can take a lot of curb. It actually lets you take a lot of curb and still be valid. And you have this right-hander, which is a bit tricky sometimes. But now, it's very crucial to stay on the inside to brake as far outside as possible. Then this right-hander, not the problem. But here, if you hit the right-hand side curb and come back on track while the curb is still there, it can total your suspension, because you take a huge hit. Because there's, yeah, basically a cliff you hit from the other side. So it's, yeah, it's very, you feel very stupid if you hit it, but actually it's pretty easy to hit it if you think about it. Because it's like you want to maximize everything and then you just take a lot of curb, but even if you are on the curb itself, it might just be that you drop off and return, because it's obviously a right-hand turn. So it comes back at you, and yeah, it's very unnecessary to hit, but also very easy to do, especially if you get caught out a bit in a 1 hour race. You already start to relax on this bit for a bit, and then you just hit the inside there. So wouldn't underestimate that risk. Also pit entry, very important to practice, because pit entry here is very interesting. It's like in, for example, Montreal or where's this? Yeah, it's not quite as in Shanghai. It's like actually it is quite like in Shanghai, because you drive into the pits and brake later than the actual braking point for the corner, but the lines obviously overlap because they're on the same path. So if you have a car in front, you will lose time just by entering the pits compared to a car who doesn't have an opponent in front. So that's a pretty important part when it comes to strategy actually, because basically you can't pit if there's a car in front of you, or you lose too much time, because you can brake really late. I think it's like 100 or 80 meters or something, just the amount of tarmac behind that will brake later. And obviously you have this left-right hander. Very interesting on this track. But obviously it also can be very, very dangerous at times if people underestimate it. But if you take a look, normally you brake at this 100 meter mark or shortly after, and you can basically brake once the other track or the pit entry cuts off the normal track for the pit entry. And Timo Pum is wishing everyone good luck. Good luck back to you, Timo. far doesn't look too bad for you, I guess. But now, got 1 minute until the lights go, well, not green, but at least lights turn on. But we also have, again, the manual in-lab, obviously. It's a trademark thing for gt-rennserien basically at this point. Very cool that they have it for me. So, let's just, where is it? Yeah, we go. We don't have a special safety car, unfortunately, but it's as we're used to. So the pole setter will take the wall of the pole setter, and then they will gather in double file formation before the start, and so on. There we go. Where is Colin Blankenburg? Seems like Colin Blankenburg got kicked by the game or something. It's a bit weird. I'll keep you posted when I know what's up, but that means now Marcus Chadron is on bowl and Mr. Minimi alongside him. Very interesting. So the aim is to have a 1 hour 15 minute race, so 75 minutes. That's why we have a bit more time for the in-lap. Scheduled around 2 to 3 minutes. Also, you can really use the in-lap. It's not like it's just for show. It actually is pretty useful because you can heat up the tires, because usually you'll start on cold tires in a normal race with standing start. But in this case, you have the opportunity to preheat your tires, or not if you don't want to. Obviously, it's also very important for fuel consumption and stuff, because if you burn a lot of fuel by driving map 5 all the time on the in-lap, which is especially apparent on the Nordschleife, yeah, we will just burn fuel and have to refuel more. So, a lot more to it than it seems. But now we should see them coming to double formation. Mark Chandron on the left hand side, which will be in the inside 410-1. So Minimi alongside him, and now everyone slowly just so Colin Blankenburg's game has just crashed basically. But now let's focus on the start. So Minimi very close to Marcus Chadron there. A bit further behind, but actually it's important to get the start right, because Marcus Chadron now deactivates pit limiter and had a very good start. Mr. Minimi in the middle of the track, Timo Blum looking to the inside. But Mr. Minimi was able to keep it in front. Further down, everything's clean. Gynecologue having the look on the outside on Christian Brand. So far, no collisions as far as I'm concerned. Oh, and we have car off track. On deck, I think. So now they are running down to the chicane. See a bit of side-by-side action further down, and I actually forgot to deactivate that. So now we have still Mark Chadron in the lead, followed by the two Audis of Mr. Minimi and Timo Plum. Henrik Newland got into 4th position. I think he started 5th. And Christian Bond still in 5th in the McLaren. Now slowly Plex will form and it will all get a bit calmer. But so far everybody's just kept it safe, trying to survive the first lap of this 75-minute race. And I think everyone has done a good job at that. And especially for the behind, they are very close together. It's from Christian Brun to Marcel Löckens, everyone within a second, or nearly half a second just, to the car in front. And at the front they're also taking it a bit easier on each other, I think. Just trying to get through the race at the start and then looking for what's happened with pit strategy. Christian Brun can't quite go the pace of the four cars in front. Oh, so getting closer to Charlie Monk, who himself is getting closer to Jan Decker, I think. Jan Decker actually overtook Charlie Monk there before. Very early shifting there by Charlie Monk. The engine not liking that. Now Henrik Newland very close to Timo Plum, so it will shift around a lot and now down the inside, sending it, forcing Timo Plum to take the outside line, but already being in front. And that now means Henrik Newland up into P3. And now comes the sector with Timo Plum's car, should be a bit faster. He's having a look, but couldn't quite done it in this chicane. Has the better exit now. Oh, and we've got something happening behind. I think it was Thorsten Leber, at least it's shown for me that it was Thorsten Leber, went off track. Seems like he's lost nothing. Oh, and now you see the Audi having much more grip there on the inside. Couldn't quite send it. But slipstreaming really helps you on this track to keep it behind if you have a car with good braking. That is. Because now he can really tuck in behind this big Bentley and just brake as late as usual. Because he already has some of the best brakes in GTR 3 at least. And yeah, now the part where the Bentley is fast again, so it will shift around a lot on this track because you have the flowing turns in Sector 1 or the beginning of Sector 1 and then the last sector. And the tight chicanes in between. Marcel still trying to get past Charlie Monk. Oh, and Marius Strongbow having a few problems there. This doesn't have to mean much by this point because we still have 70 minutes to drive. Oh, Marcel a bit funny out the inside there. Not sure if this is an incident point or not. But Henrik Newland generally seems to be faster than the two Audis around him. It's now getting closer to Mr. Minimi. Already using the flasher to full extent. Is that a big drift there? Looked like it. Oh, and Gynekologe off the track there, and we've got Jörn Decker in the wall. Doesn't let me. Couldn't see what happened, just heard the impact. Seems like some damage. The windscreen is a bit broken. Oh, and yeah, the suspension on the rear end is very broken, and Maelstrom also having to fight a lot with the car. And Jörn Decker's off again. Yeah, that will be a lot of damage. It's basically undrivable, and I think the car is totaled. No, not yet. It will be a very painful lap for the pits. So it looks like his rear end suspension is completely broken, which would explain why his car is so uncontrollable. Front suspension, it's just steering is offset and stuff, and it's still not great to drive, obviously, by no means, but rear end suspension, if it's broken, it's basically undrivable, even if it's just slightly broken, because your car is basically driving sideways or loses under traction, and Mr. Minimi goes wide a bit, and Henrik Newland now uses this to its advantage, side by side down to turn 1. On the outside, it's possible to go around the outside because you can take the speed. And he got it around the outside. Great move by Henrik Newland, also fair play by Mr. Minimi there. And Henrik Newland into P2. And it looks like, by the lap, best laps and last laps, that he really has a chance to get closer to Marco Chadron as well. And Marco Chadron really Jörn Decker really not having a good time there. It's not how you wish your first race of the season to start. Unfortunately, I don't know what really happened there. Seems like there was no collision between cars. But, yeah. I don't know. I think the undercar's now in the pits. Oh, he's the wrong way into the pits. Anyway. Dick Pfeiffer, meanwhile, into 7th. Logo, obviously, with driving off the track, lost the bit and is now into P8. Oh, and Marcus Chadron, no, it's just entering the yellow zone. All good. So let's see. Henrik Newland this lap already shaved off 3/10 of Marcus Chadron's lap. 5/10 quicker actually with the overtake in turn 1. Christian Brandt also still in P5. Thorsten Leber still in P6. So it's a strong race so far by those two. We are currently 12 minutes in. Not 12 minutes, 8 minutes in. But Dirk Pfeiffer's getting closer to Thorsten Leber, who just saw a short time before was his basically his Bentley brother at the moment. Right, not Bentley brother, it's the Mike Bartman obviously, but at least the Bentley comrade. And Christian Brandt is also closing in on Timo Plum, so this can be also very interesting. Really seems to find some pace in that car. Some small connection issues might just be on my end though. Meanwhile, Marcel Löcken, nice drift, got past Charlie Monk and now is chasing after Gynekologa. From the lap times, I'd say Gynekologa is a bit faster. Doesn't mean that there can't be anything in the long run happening. And Henrik Newland coming closer to Mark Chadron with big steps in another 10th last lap. Best lap, the only twos in the 29s are obviously Mark Chadron and Henrik Newland. And Timo Flum also getting very close to Mr. Minimi there. Only 3/10 between them and now on the straight with Slipstream. Unfortunately, I can't show you speeds or anything because all of those things don't work at the moment for some reason. It's a bit unfortunate. But you really can see how much closer he gets each corner. The fight for P3 at the moment. And actually, in the meantime, unfortunately I missed it, Dirk Pfeiffer got past to Thorsten Leber. So Dirk Pfeiffer into P6, so from P8. Oh, and Minimi drifting a lot, they can really hear the tire squealing because of the understeer. Better exit there though. Could get the power down earlier. In last lap another 3/10. Henrik Newland had up on Marcus Chadron. Oh, and Timo Flum going very wide there. It's no biggie there, but surely not what you hope for. Can end up very dangerous if you have the dirt on the tires and get back on track with the momentum, especially with the crest shortly after, but no issues there. Just lost a tenth or something. Thorsten Leber is getting closer again to the Pfeiffer, so he just gradually lost a bit of time to the Pfeiffer each lap, but now he's getting closer. So the Pfeiffer just ran a bit wide there. Marcel Löcken currently also is closing in on Gynäkologe. Christian Brandt is just watching the show from behind, and Timo Plum lost a bit of time again actually. And he's just enjoying it, I guess. Waiting for something to happen, waiting for his opportunities to rise and strike. Björn Decker actually parked the car in the meantime. This amount of damage just undrivable. Not even fixable sometimes if he has engine damage. Oh, and Gynäkologe ran right there. Marcel Löcken immediately used the chance to strike, and now up into P8. He started 12th, I think. Should be 12th. Oh, and Gynäkologe too much curb there. Car gets very unstable. Basically jump and then the front doesn't grip, and when you come down the tarmac you suddenly have a lot of grip, obviously. Because you're not only pushing the car with the tires with the ground with downforce, but also because of the energy of the landing impact. Now Charlie Monk's looking for his P8. P9 actually, sorry. And now he's actually side by side with him. Gynäkologe didn't have the best exit there. And now side by side into the chicane, Gynäkologe on the inside, which is an advantage here. But again has the worst exit compared to Charlie Monk, who now tries it on the outside. It is possible. Oh, and very aggressive there. But it's also very hard to go side by side there. I don't think you should do it at all. You can try to dive it down the inside in the chicane, even though it's risky, but trying to go side by side down that hill, that's very dangerous. Let's take another look back at the front. Also, the time at the top of your screen is a bit bugged in this state. It's 1 hour and 1 minute, not 1 minute. So we still have a long way to go. Henrik Newland also getting closer to the 1 second mark. Mr. Mini going too wide there into the gravel, which allows Timo Plum to close in big time. Not quite close enough to launch an attack. That was lucky for Mr. Minimi that Timo Plum backed off a bit to be like 6th, 10th behind. Because what you shouldn't forget, we only changed 2 tires as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I can double check. But, yeah, we only changed 2 tires. The thing is that you want your front tires to, or you want to change the rear tires, and so you want your front tires to be still in a good shape when you change tires in the i8. It's a bit different to every car. In mid-engine cars you usually only change rears. In some front end cars like the Mercedes or sometimes even the Bentley, it's possible to change fronts in a 1 hour race. Or 1 hour plus a bit. Yeah. Can't find the info I need right now, fortunately. New Zealand also for 2 laps around 1 second. I just updated. It's a bit wobbly on the timing sometimes. Consistently just 2 to 3 tenths faster than Marco Shadron, which is very incredible. So this is also the closest fight we have right now. Me to Christian Brand. Pfeiffer is just trying to catch up a bit, and slap times are pretty much the same, a bit faster than Brand. Overall the same. Oh, somebody went wide, I think it was Christian Brand, because he just lost out a bit. Leber can't quite go the pace. He's not far off, he's just 1 to 2 tenths off in the last laps. Also, the mandatory pit window has opened. Okay. That you can see by the red markings on at the names, the top left. Seems to have made a mistake, because now he's 1 second behind Mr. Minimi and Christian Brand is right behind. Oh, and Timo Blum with another mistake just loses the front end of the car again. So this might be just the state where the i8 really struggles a lot. I mean, I kind of know this. There's a certain percentage usually on Timo Blum white again. Around 80% to 85% to 70% or something, where the car just doesn't feel great. In my opinion, it's like a bit of driving off ice, because there is still pace, but you just can't unleash it, it feels like. And if you try, those mistakes happen, because it's a bit unpredictable, let's say. But all of this obviously allows Dick Pfeiffer to close in big time now, because Timo Plum is defending from Christian Brand. So Henry Newland is not really getting closer than the 1 second mark. He's just a bit short of, penalties between 9, 10 and 1.1 seconds. Oh, and there's a collision between Timo Plum and Christian Brand, and now Dirk Pfeiffer around the outside. Christian Brand stuck on the curbing, on the sausage curbs, and now Thorsten Leber is right behind. Oh, and we've got Charlie Monk off the track as well. Much action, and now Dirk Pfeiffer going for the move on Timo Plum around the outside. Didn't go quite as smooth as Timo's move on Mr. Minimi, but incredible. the Quaver just picked up two positions in 2 corners. You just gotta be there when it counts. But can he maintain the position? That will be the question. But already in P4. Now Thorsten Leber is also back in the mix because now he's in the slipstream range, and if these 3 fight it out, he might be the one slipping through, like Dirk just in this case. And England again a bit closer to 7/10 this time. You can really see how much faster the audio is in this section of the track with the tight turns. And now in the fast right-hander, it's the Bentley racer behind. Also with a lot of Newton meters pushing the car forward uphill. Obviously a chunkier V8 has a bit more torque than, say, a small V10. Something happened further back. Oh, get rid of facing the wrong way. But it's still getting closer in front. 4/10 now between the two. But you can really see how much slipstream and dirty air can slow down cars catching up. Because where slipstream is good, dirty air is not that good. Pfeiffer seems to be a bit faster than Timo Plum at the moment. Who also profited a lot from all the action happening behind is Mr. Minimi. Because he now has a 4.7 second gap to Dirk Pfeiffer. Very useful, I guess, for him. It's now close as ever between Markus Chadron and Henrik Newland. Oh, diving deep in, and I think if Markus Chadron looked in his mirror at this very moment. Oh, and Thorsten Leber won in the last corner. It's very unfortunate for him. This was his big chance, I think. Very unfortunate, but still doesn't have to mean anything. We still have 15 minutes to drive, and you're already seen what can happen. But back to the front, Henrik Newland. I think you could describe it as format filling what Markus Chadron was able to see in the mid-turn of turn 1 there. Oh, and a big jump there from Chadron, taking too much curb, and now Henrik Newland is right behind again, using the flasher to full extent. Two very different cars. I think you can't go more different than these two are in terms of GT3s. The Porsche lightweight, not much power, rear engined, and the Bentley obviously front engine, very big, very chunky. Also weighs quite a lot, it's quite heavy. So in terms of characteristics, these two are like day and night. I think the only thing that is more chunky than the Bentley would be the M4 GT3, the new one. But apart from that, it's closer than ever between the two of them. I know it's all about not doing a mistake. It's just keeping it together now. I think it's still 15 minutes, so still a lot to happen. This won't be the final battle for the victory, let's say. And we already can see some back markers there in the background. This might be a big factor later, when they close up to them. Close in on them, sorry. But if Markus Chardon now starts to do a mistake under pressure, it just might be that he just loses the position to Henrik Newland. But it also might be that he has a bigger off, and at Zolder there are some pretty dangerous walls, or the curb I talked earlier about. So maybe if Henrik Newland is able to keep up the pace and Chardon isn't, or the other way around, it's maybe just the better option to just let the other driver go. It's many things you have to consider in this situation, but obviously you want to go for it. Now Henrik Newland dropped off a bit the last lap. Oh, and Markus Chardon taking a lot of curb there. Also got someone who came into the pits. And Christian Brown and Timo Plum side by side into the chicane. And Brand taking a lot of curb in there. It's going to be Kologa in the pits. First one to pit. And we've got Strongbow spun out in the last sector, and there we can already see the leaders. And it's wheels only. It's not really... Can't really see it there. But this now gets very interesting. For the top two drivers. But Strongbow, very fair, just keeping it on the outside, letting the two drivers pass. You actually don't have to basically give a whole race like he did for this, but depending on your status as a driver, it's sometimes easier for you as well. Because you don't have to worry about letting people pass while being fast, you just let them pass and then again try to be fast. Lapping sometimes isn't as easy as it's blue flags, man, come on. Close again. So Henrik Newland is very confident, you can tell. He's braking super late, diving in deep, still getting it stopped right in time to not hit Marco, and that really is the skill, for me at least, when you drive close behind, to not underestimate your braking. Or overestimate, rather said. To not overestimate your braking. Because if you overestimate it and you hit the car in front, it really is not cool for anyone. So I think most drivers would feel guilty, the other driver would feel, not happy, I guess. I mean, many people know things like this just can happen, but you obviously also want to drive close to the car in front and not give up any meter of track. So far it looks like Henrik really knows this car in and out on this track. Also diving in deep for the second chicane. I think this will be a bit of a back and forth game now between the two of them. Henrik will get closer and then Back off again. And now they are getting closer to get Schröder and I think it's the third Porsche. Oh, and we've got something. Most strong again. It's the drivers from deck 552 pushing front. Getting past. They spread out a bit more. All second to each other. And also they are all seemingly closing into Mr. Minimi slowly but surely. Oh, Gynecologo was in a collision. Spun out on the turn to the back straight. Just very lucky that it was on the inside, not the outside. So everyone gotten past. It's a bit of damage to the front. Let's watch if there's damage to the suspension. Seems like he has a slight offset team. Oh, and Henrik Newland actually got past Mark Chardon. I missed it. But Mark Chardon now coming back at him for the final chicane. Braking late. Newland on the inside. Chardon around the outside. But Newland is past. Newland was actually off track for a short moment. Now can Mark Chardon tuck in behind and just chase the Dutchman, or was a bit off track there, but no biggie. Can't see how much more active, let's say, Henrik is driving. He's more rolling the car into the corner. He's steaming left for a short moment when entering the turn. That causes the car to roll on the right hand side, basically, because if you turn left, the mass of the car rolls right, which helps putting the load on the outside tires then, because you steer to the right hand side before you actually turn for the turn. So you have your outside tires loaded when you enter the turn already. It's also what you see them doing in Formula cars, because there it's a bit more important. Just steering to the right for a little moment to extend the radius of the turn, basically. Very interesting and differently, has a different importance in different cars. I think in the GT3s it's not too important to do so. Someone is coming out of the pits, I guess. Yeah. Pits. Sorry. Just who was it? Ah, it was Gerd Schröder. Mark Chardon still 3/10 behind Henrik Newland. But you can see he's not following in the slipstream. So maybe he has problems with the front tires overheating. Just speculation, obviously. But and the Porsche is pretty understeery, obviously, because of the rear engine. So it might be just that on Zolder, because you don't have straights that long and you have a lot of high-speed turns that you understeer a lot. Because of the hard braking zones, the front tires also get loaded a lot at the end of the straights. So it might just be that the front tires just can't take it that long in this car, on this track. This might also be an issue on Interlagos, because you have a lot of flowing turns, you don't have many sharp turns, which help the Porsche a bit in terms of rotation. Someone else came into the pits. I think it was Gerd Schröder, and is that? Yeah, it's Mr. Minimi actually came into the pits, so the first one of the leading pack. Or the leading cars coming into the pits. Just see what tires will he change. Obviously refueling, you don't make it through the whole race on one tank of fuel in this car. And he's actually changing both tires. So it might just be that it's still mandatory. I think your Porsche in the background is also onto this. I sadly can't find the information I need at the moment. But Team Plum is also getting closer to Dirk Pfeiffer, also went a bit wide there. Throwing up the sparks. And Charlie Monk is past Mr. Minimi because he's out of the pits now. Oh, and Team Plum a bit wide there. I'm not going over the curb. Oh, and Marcus shot one into the pits as well. Just shocked for a moment that he made a mistake, but no, he's just entering the pits. So 37-minute mark, that's pretty much half time. And he is also waiting for 2 tires, so I guess it's mandatory. Dirk Pfeiffer and Christian Bond also coming into the pits. The Bentley will have the upper hand in terms of fuel, because it just consumes way less than the Audi. So he will make up some ground to start rival Timo Plum. Seine Newland will probably make up some ground on... I don't know how much it's to the Porsche. The Porsche has not the biggest fuel tank, that's the issue. Consumption is quite okay. Monk not coming in the pits, that means Mr. Minimi will have to get past him by racing him, or just getting the pass through. So Dirk Pfeiffer still standing. Christian Bond, but already driving. Obviously both coming out behind Mr. Minimi, but I'm not too sure what Christian Bond did. If he just changed 2 tires or not. The pit stop at least counted normally. And Henry Newland now also in the pits. Also, yeah, should be both. Maybe Dirk Pfeiffer just must have fuel a bit and had to refuel more. Or maybe it was the strategy to have less fuel in the tank for the race. That's also a good one. But that now means that he's 7 seconds behind Grant. But he was like 9 seconds in front before the pit stop. And also Timo Plum is our new race leader. Henrik now driving, or made it pit stop in this case. Should come out way in front of Mr. Minimi. But where's Mark Shodron? He's on the start finish straight. You're not now on the exit of the pits. He will have a good gap to Marcus Shodron, but how much will it be? Less than 4 seconds. It's around 3.7 seconds for the Dutchman. So he gained round about 2.5 seconds in the pits. Or doing the pit times. Marcel Löckner actually currently running in second. Struggling a bit with the rear tires there, but not the issue. I think Strong yeah, also parked the car. Hope we will come back for the next one. Which will be in Chang. Should be a bit more friendly for the drivers to learn, I guess. I mean, it's not like easy, but it's more easy. Even if you do mistakes, you are pretty much forgiven completely because you have so much runoff. Unless you spin it around. Then you obviously will still lose time. So currently no drivers real close to each other. Just waiting for the last 3 cars to do their pit stops. It will be very interesting where Timo Plum comes out. If he maybe can't challenge Mr. Mini because I think Dirk Pfeiffer is now out of the fight for P4, but maybe Timo Plum is back in for P3. Marcel Löcken will, I guess, come out somewhere between Thorsten Leber and Günni Kolohe, I reckon. I think Marcel Löcken will also come into the pits pretty soon, so he doesn't get into the traffic with Henrik Newland. I mean, he doesn't have to obey black flags, blue flags or something, because this is for position in this case when he goes wide there. But it still loses your time anyway. If you defend, it will obviously lose you more time than if you just let him go if he's faster. But in both cases, it's not ideal. Also, now he'd have free way to just eat into the pits, and he does. They can see how late you can brake for this pit entry. Then obviously taking the ideal line through the pit entry turns with curbings. Now don't hit the concrete barrier there. Which I definitely never have done, and would be, yeah, I mean, who would hit such a wall, right? Yeah, I hit it. There he goes. Did he actually not... He's not refueling? It's very interesting. Either he just forgot to, or he fuel saved a bit. I think in the Mercedes you don't have to fuel save that much. And just goes for no refueling, because if you don't refuel, you gain time on yeah, multiple instances, because you don't have to refuel at all. I mean, that's the obvious thing. You don't have to put in fuel. But what also loses you quite some time is the starting or rebooting of the car, because you have to stop the engine when you are in standstill. You have to restart the engine, and this will easily cost you 2 to 3 seconds. And if you, I think on Zolder you can fuel save while maintaining a good pace, it could be a bit faster actually. Say refueling will cost you overall with everything 8 to 10 seconds. It's quite a lot. And even 8 to 10 seconds isn't the proper number, I guess. For not much fuel. It's actually Marcel Löcken now again chased by Timo Plum. Now Timo Plum doesn't want to get too close to Marcel Löcken here before his pit stop, because if he needs to box when he's close to Marcel Löcken, I think you've seen the pit entry of Marcel Löcken, you will just lose a lot of time. So I guess at his pace compared to Marcel Löcken, that's not that easy to tell actually. No, he's just coming in anyway. Down speed. I think it's actually quite a cool pit lane we have in Zolder. So there's Henrik Newland, now entering third sector. Max Chadron is closing in a bit, but just a bit per lap. Actually, last lap was a lot, but overall. Team Plum now stationary. Marcel Löcken and Henrik Newland out of the final turn, obviously taking back P1 and P2. In this very moment. Now where's Mr. Minimi? This is the very important part. Last chicane. Timo Plum still stationary, so Mr. Minimi will get past with ease in this case. Timo Plum now driving again. Now where's Christian Brunt? He's now across the start-finish line. That will be interesting between the two of them. Because obviously now, Christian Bond not having the best T1. So I think it wouldn't be have been too much closer. 2.5 seconds the gap between the two of them. So it's pretty much the order we had at the beginning of the race, except for Henrik Newland. But apart from that, Markus Stadron, Mr. Mini, Timo Plum, Christian Brandek, Pfeiffer, Thorsten Leber. Marcel Löttner up into P8 now with Charlie Monk. Oh, that was a big hit for the suspension there. Let's see if the steering wheel is offset. At least it sounded like a big hit. Seems like it isn't too bad. But yeah, you don't want to do that too often, sometimes it will bite you back. Actually, I don't know, this time it's just the other way around. And what was that sound? I think it was Charlie Monk exiting the pits. Just happens. But yeah, very interesting how that all played out. We are basically, as said, back at minute 10 or something. No, just Henrik Newland in front of Markus Stadron, but the rest is just the same, just with a bit bigger gap. So, I'm pretty interested to see what Dick Pfeiffer can do in the remaining 27 minutes. Now, Team Plum also has much fresher tires than Mr. Minimi does, so maybe he can close in, but 6.5 seconds is quite the gap to close in. I don't think Christian Bond has too many chances to close in on Timo Plum, except Timo does a mistake. Just because the tires are so much better at this point. Car is also lighter. Showdown was 6/10 behind not Gynekolo, behind Henrik Newland. So Henrik came in after Markus Stadron, but this doesn't even have to mean too much actually in this case. Obviously his tires are better than Markus Stadron's, but maybe he still has the better balance in the car now. I mean, we've seen how fast he was at the beginning of his in the first start of the race. And he just pulled away. But if he can't get past soon, I think Henrik Newland might just be the one to drive this thing home, because at least in the last stint he was much faster later in the race. Christian Bond actually pretty much keeps the same distance to Timo Plum. 2 seconds plus just a bit. Actually a bit surprised by that. 1/10 faster than the last lap. See on this lap. So Timo Plum drives 30 point. No, not a 30. A 29.885 and Christian Bond at 29.775. It's very good times. Samini just a tiny bit faster than Timo Plum, 29.837. The front twos are driving 32.54 and 34.03. And there's also one lap car coming closer again. It's Gynäkologe. This time you can also see Markstad more often than not really using the slipstream, so he doesn't have to bail out of it for the tire's sake. I mean, you can't even see the Porsche if he's right behind him. Oh, you see Masterlöcken spinning off in the chicane, the first chicane. Oh, that was a bit too much throttle there. Oh no, he's bailing out of the substream again. Oh, and that was a lot of curbing there by Henry Newland. Oh, and Mr. Minimi into the wall, entering the back straight. Means now Timo Plum and Christian Brandt are both passed. That's how fast things can go. No, Dick Pfeiffer probably will also go past as well. Is there damage to the car? Seems like Steven is a slight bit offset. The aerodynamics at the front don't look the best anymore. Slight offset to the right, seems like. But that can be accounted for, usually. Oh, and Max Chadron can get through this part much smoother than Henrik Nyland. Now side by side, down turn one, and Max Chadron this time on the inside. But Henrik Nyland just eats it around the outside. It's obviously a strong part of the Bentley compared to the Porsche, those long sweeping turns. But the exit, that's where the Porsche shines, and now Max Chadron really shows that by just being better out of turn 2 and looking down the inside on the entry corner for the backstretch. And just outbraking the Dutchman into the chicane. Very surprised by that, to be honest. But great move. Also fair play by Henrik Newland. Let's see if Mr. Minimi can take back 5th place. Obviously, if you have aerodynamic damage at the front, you will also have a lot of more of understeer, and resulting of that, more tire wear at the front. If you now also has damage to the front part of the suspension, yeah, that can make things much harder in the long run. So far he's faster than Dick Pfeiffer at least. And Henrik Newland loses a lot of time to Markus Chadron. I don't exactly know why. Did he under fuel maybe and has to save fuel from now on? I mean, that would be a real shame for him, but something happened. Side off track there for Timo Plum. Apparently was off track, but That doesn't explain anything. He's half a second slower per sector or something. I mean, he has 17 seconds to Timo Plum. I'm denying that, but... So it seems like he doesn't have damage to the car, because then he suddenly gained a lot. It just seems like he's lifting a lot. He's been 2 seconds faster the last lap. It's currently just everyone lapping. Still curious what happened to Henrik. So last lap, it again was 1.5 seconds off the pace. Now this time it doesn't seem to have dropped that much. Just wait a few seconds and see when they come across the line. Had again was 2 seconds. Shot one at 29.655 and Henrik at 31.746. I think he just underfueled. Because especially in the corners you can see the same pace, or at least you can see it if you could see the delta. You can't see the delta down there in the middle, obviously. But just out of turns especially, you can also hear him short shifting a bit. You can hop on board and just listen to it a bit. So Mr. Minimi lost a bit of time to dig 5 again. Yeah, he's lifting a lot. Can hear him coasting before he actually brakes. So he probably just underfueled or forgot to, because he's really saving a lot. It's not the issue if you have to save it over time, because then you can just use map 4 or something. Obviously it will still be a bit slower, but if you have to save a lot of fuel in a short time, it costs a lot more time. I mean, he's doing it in a pretty good way. Lift and coast is the best thing you can do without losing too much time, depending on how much you need to fuel save. Obviously he lost a lot of time. He's lost 9 seconds behind Rockshot 1. But if you compare to other strategies, it will still lose you less time than, for example, racing in map 1 all the time and not accelerating properly or something. Because by lift doing lift and coast, you save fuel consumption at a high load. So like where you usually would have a high load, you consume much more fuel if you're going to 70. 270, you don't go to 70 on this track, but if you go to 30, it takes more fuel to maintain that speed than at, for example, or than trying to accelerate from 60 to 100, because you have to push the car through a lot of air and resistance and in general higher RPMs. So even if you accelerate under full load, it might just be less fuel than if you just were to coast a bit. Master looking spun again out of turn 1, now Max Shed 1 is coming to lap him as well. Down the inside. Timo Plum now 10 seconds behind Henrik Newland. This might actually be tied between the two of them at the end. Oh, big off for Gerd Schröder there. Did hit the barrier? I think so, at least a bit. You can see the tire marks might be from another crash. Anyway, but still driving. Seems like there's not too much damage. As always, let's check for the onboard. Letting past Timo Plum, very generous. Seems like there's no further damage to the car, at least. .3 seconds now between Henrik Newland and Timo Plum. Still got 11 minutes. He's 2.5 seconds faster per lap. So maybe 3 laps, that would be 4 minutes 50, so I still got 5 minutes, depending on for how long Henrik has to save fuel anymore. If he has to save fuel every lap from now on to just make it to the finish line or not. And if Timo Plum gets close, Christian Brun will also come close. Dirk Pfeiffer will be very hard for him to come close, but Christian Brun is close. Only 3 seconds behind Timo Plum, and at this rate this is 1 lap more, and if they fight as well, this will cost them easily 1 or 2 seconds. All just depends, obviously, if other drivers also have to fuel save later or not. But so far it doesn't look like it. I think Timo Plum also knows that he really has a shot now, and you can see him pushing. Giving way to Timo Plum there. Either he just wants to give him a sign or just wants to advertise, one of those two things. But you can really see how much he's pushing. I think both Henrik Newland and Timo Plum know what the situation is at the moment. But as said, depending on the fuel situation of Henrik Newland, he might just be a sitting duck. I know from the Nordschleife races that Henrik is a type of guy who underfuels, fuel saves the whole race, and on the last lap he has enough fuel to just go all out again. But this case was a bit different. He went all out in the beginning, so I guess he just either did a mistake by calculating how much he needs to refuel or not. Or what could also be the case, that because of the pace, we have to drive another lap because it's a time-based race. The last lap starts, or the last lap just ends when the timer hits 0 seconds. So if you go faster than expected, you will do one more lap, for example, because you cross the finish line just right before 0 seconds. It's already very challenging on those 1 hour races because you can not that easily estimate how much fuel it will actually take for, or how much time it will actually take to cross the finish straight or finish line for the last time. Because it depends on the pace of the leader. So it gets even harder if you have a multi-class race and you are in the slower class because obviously we are bound to the faster class because the faster class defines the last lap basically. It's 3.8 seconds ago. You can already see the Bentley in your screen front. Still got 7 minutes 30. Christian Brandt also again closer to Timo from 2.2 seconds. .6 seconds. It's closing in very fast. Another 1.6 seconds to this lap. So the next lap, I guess in the second or third sector, you should be right behind if it continues at this rate. So just for comparison, it's the best lap. You can see the... How can I? Wait, just 1 second. No, I actually can't. Search. Henrik Newland's average lap actually dropped to 132 because of all this fuel saving. That I can tell you. Oh, big wibbly wobbly for Timo Plum there. Safe to continue though. Should just see that Christian Mann is on board for longer than I've noticed. Way longer than I noticed. Joined a year ago. So I'm sorry if I got that wrong. Can we hear the TC jumping in for Timo Plum there? Stern. So the rear tires will be torn down a bit at this point. And then better go safe than sorry. And now it's sub 1 second for Timo Plum. And we've got 4 minutes 30 left. So I guess 3 laps after this one. Should be pretty much 3 laps, yes. Oh, Timo Plum is braking there a bit, but He has time. It's just about getting past without Christian 1 coming in too close or just slipping with him through. I think worst case for him would be if Newland defended from him and Brunt just goes up the inside or around the outside or something of him. It's obvious he obviously wants to get past sooner than later. Oh, and now on the inside, couldn't quite make it. His advantage is in the braking zone because Henrik is not trailbreaking, he is lift and coasting. But I can see even with the lift and coast you can defend if you just park it down the inside. The other driver still can get past. No matter what you do. Now again down the inside. Team Plume has to go the long way around. Can't do it in this case. That's just too long this chicane. Especially with the inwash. But Christian Brunt, yeah, already right behind. Now Team Plume again to the outside. But this time might be a bit different. Now he maybe tries to switch the rule. Has a look at the inside, then the outside. Couldn't quite make it, was cut off, so he has to now defend from Christian Brunt. Defends down the inside. Christian Brunt can't quite hang it around the outside. This will be very exciting to the last laps. Oh, and Team Plume with a big dive hits Newland there on the quarter panel. This is very dangerous. And now Christian Brunt around the outside. Couldn't quite get the switch back there. Where's Marco Chadron? He won't be able to start 2 laps. It will be one last lap. Now Team Plume having a look at the inside, but Henrik Newland was just too far away, taking a lot of curb with the Bentley. If Henrik Newland actually could hold this position, that would be really incredible. Mark Shadow now over the line, only 1 minute and 10 remaining, so even though he would have the option to, he will probably not extend the lap, the race. So it's one last lap. One more opportunity for Timo Plum and Christian Brunt. And now again having to look the outside. Braking is good, and now he can keep it around the outside. Now the inside. Again contact, and now down the straight. Henrik Newland now in the inside for turn 1, but we've seen multiple times this race that the outside can be the better line. Henrik Newland braking late in this case. Oh, and Timo Plum loses it and collects the McLaren of Christian Brunt. I think there was no contact between the drivers. What? Oh, and Henrik Newland actually misbraked into turn 2, and now Christian Brunt is actually in P2. He just, as said before, it just comes down to waiting for your opportunities. And Marco Chadron out of the final turn to take the checkered flag. Congratulations. Well deserved. Well driven. Christian Brunt. Doesn't work, obviously. Raceman Reality didn't have the greatest day today, so it's unfortunately can't show the driver of the day. But Christian Brunt coming home in P2, just waited for his opportunity, what I talked about at the beginning of the race all the time. Great job by him. And Timo Plum actually came in third because Henrik Newland is just running out of fuel on the main straight. That's real unfortunate. He might just not be able to finish the race. He's just slowly moving forwards. And he's actually stationary. I don't think he made it. Just a labor pass. What a sad end for the race, for Henrik Newland. Such a great first stint. Such a great first few laps after the pit stops. Great fights with Markus Schadron, and now not being able to finish the race. P11 DNF, I think, doesn't even give him points. But congratulations to Markus Schadron, fastest lap and race winner. Christian Brandt, well-deserved P2 for me, driver of the day. Timo Plum, also solid P3 now, after his mistake. Could have been P2, but yeah, it just happens if you fight hard. It was a very awkward situation for all of them, I guess. Dirk Pfeiffer also managed to get P4 in the end. Mr. Minimi P5, so I think damage repairs for him. Thorsten Leber, good P6. Master Duncan came from 12 on the grid to finish P7. Gynekologe P8. Charlie Monk P9. Gerd Schröder P10. I think many can be happy with the race. But what a finish that was. And yeah, very sad to have heard what happened to you, Colin. It was very unfortunate. Could have been a great fight for the victory. And hello, Sioman. Good to see you. But what a finale of the race, holy. I think that was one of the most dramatic showdowns I've seen in quite a long time. It wasn't like a race to the finish, but just the situation in the end. Yeah, some very unfortunate things happening, obviously. Real shame for Henrik Newland. But things happen in racing. Learn from the mistakes, don't repeat them if possible. And yeah, that's 25 points for Markus Schadron in the GTRM 2.0 season from the first race. The next race will be held at Chang International on the 6th of January. So we still have, what is it, 3 weeks until the next race. So a lot of prep time for, I think, a new track for many drivers. So, actually, we have a slowdown. So, no, we don't. Yeah. Make sure to tune in if you want to join. Click the link down below in the description. And I actually have a small announcement from myself. I will upload a video to this channel tomorrow at 6 PM. It's a very important video to me, so something very special. You will be notified anyway, I guess. So please make sure to tune in for this. And see you next time. Next week there will be Nordschleife again. Not on this channel, but in general. So if you're interested in races on the Nordschleife, also make sure to check out gt-rennserien. It's all about the Nordschleife basically. And until then, have a great time. Bye bye.